Welcome everybody to Friar Talk. Today we're going live first Sunday stream of the season. I'm not sure how many people will get in here just because we kind of brought it up real briefly, but not too much. So we'll be going live for probably like 20 minutes today, pretty quick. We should do some more as the season goes on. But in terms of the Padres, we'll probably be pretty brief on that. They gave up today. Isaac, I don't know if you saw. No Manny Machado, no Fernando Tatis in the lineup today.
Wow.
They've basically given up.
Yeah.
They went up like 4-1 yesterday, choked the lead away. Do you want to talk about them or not really?
Not even a little. Not even a little. I wasn't expecting to be so excited for the NFL season because I thought the Padres were going to be in it. I thought my whole attention was going to be with the Padres, but now that they're 9 games under 500, they're trash. They don't have their 2 best players in the lineup today. I don't see a point in talking about them, or I'm not watching them today. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably going to be every Sunday from here on out is
Yeah.
just football Sunday. So in terms of football, man, what are you looking forward to this season? I already saw it. We were talking about it before we started, but Isaac's got a Charger jersey on and people already sending hate comments for the Chargers jersey. So, I mean, Isaac, you've said it like a million times of why you're still a Charger fan that you tried to quit. So we won't get into it.
I tried.
But
yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for the season. We already got to see the Chiefs lose week 1. You guys don't know I'm a Niners fan. Chase, who's not here today, he's a Niners fan too. But I'm pumped, dude. We got some rookie quarterbacks playing this year. We got explosive offenses. We kind of know who the juggernaut teams are. From my perspective, for the Niners, the NFC is like basically a 3-team race, at least in my opinion. I think it's the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Niners. The AFC is just a complete different beast. So I'm pumped. I think the Niners will be in the thick of it again. Chargers, obviously last year they had a rough choke at the end of the season, but not anything you're not accustomed to already, Isaac, as a San Diego sports fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, dude. I mean, that was, it was 27-0. There was 4 of us watching the game. I'm the only one that's like been a Charger fan all my life. So I said, wow, it's 27-0, but I definitely still have this feeling that, we're going to choke this lead. And, all I heard was like, nah, they're fine. Come on. It's 27-0. Nonetheless, they choked the game. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot of fun watching the Chargers until the 4th quarter. So, I mean, hopefully today's more of the same, except with a win. Last year they played Miami. They only scored a touchdown because someone fumbled and Tyreek took it to the house. So not even a receiving touchdown. And don't get me wrong, I expect Tyreek to have a good game today. I expect the Dolphins to have a much better game than they did last year. But I think it's going to be a lot of points scored. I know they have the highest over-under. I think it's at 51 points. I think, it's the highest over-under of the week, followed by the Browns and the Bengals. So the Chargers Dolphins projected to be a shootout. So I'm pretty excited for that. I hope it is a shootout. Normally Chargers games, because they always choke the lead away, do end up becoming shootouts. But I see Devin wants us to discuss Jets, Bills, Niners, Steelers, and the Eagles, Patriots games.
So first off, Eagles, Patriots. Eagles are my lock of the week. I think Eagles either -3.5 or just Eagles outright. That's I mean, most people are going to probably listen to this after the games, but that's what I'm going to bet. That's what I'm going to hammer this week. Dude, I don't understand how the Eagles are 3-point favorites when you look at their roster. They got better. They added Jalen Carter. They were in the Super Bowl last year. It's week 1, so there's not much film on guys, so it's not like a crazy Bill Belichick advantage. The Patriots roster flat out sucks. Like, their offense is abysmal. So I'm actually hammering Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to kind of kill them. Jets, Bills, Niners, Steelers. I think those are really exciting games. Both those teams, I mean, maybe outside of the Steelers, but people are expecting the Steelers offense to be better. But Niners, Bills, Jets all have good offenses and defenses. The Steelers have a really good defense as well. Their offense could take a step. So, like, you're potentially seeing, like, 4 playoff teams in that, or 4 close to playoff teams. I don't know if the Steelers are really going to make it, but they're going to be in the mix. They're always in the mix. They're a good team. TJ Watt's healthy. You have him going. Like, the Steelers have a chance, basically. If you look at their wins with and without TJ Watt over the past, like, 3-4 years, it's actually crazy. So I'm excited for those ones. I think Niners Steelers is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be close. I'm excited to see, because the Niners offensive line is, like, it's just like Trent Williams and Aaron Banks on the left side, and then it's like a lot of question marks. I'm excited to see how quick they can get the ball out and if they can kind of like neutralize a pass rush with getting the ball out quick and not having like long dropbacks and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that side of it. Jets Bills is a pretty sick Monday night game too, especially with Rodgers, of course. But I think that one could be another shootout. Maybe not a shootout because the defenses are good, but just like a back and forth, just like great football game.
Yeah, as far as the Jets and the Bills go, I mean, that's probably the most exciting matchup of the week, just because it's a rivalry game. Those two teams are expected to, be competitors at the end of the day when it comes to the East, the AFC East. Yeah, those two are expected to be the top competitors when it comes to that. And it's Aaron Rodgers' debut with the new team. Aaron Rodgers has been a Packer all his life, and now, or all his whole career, and now he's a Jet. And the Jets have a lot of good pieces that they surrounded him with. It's Garrett Wilson. They brought him Alan Lazard. They got Breece Hall in the backfield. They brought him Dalvin Cook. Offensive line is definitely not good, but hopefully, he's going to have to overcome that. So we're going to see how that game goes. I think it's going to be a fun game. Niners Steelers, I expect it to be a low-scoring affair just because those two do have good defenses. Brock Purdy is coming off. He came off an injury last year, right? He came out last year with like a UCL injury or something like that. So I'm excited to see how he bounces back from that injury. It's not the same for a quarterback and a pitcher. It's a little different, but I'm excited to see how he bounces back. And the Steelers got Kenny Pickett going, making his, I guess you could say opening day, but his week 1 debut because he didn't start in week 1 last year. So I definitely think that's going to be a pretty exciting game. Eagles Patriots, like Matt said, I think that's a lock. If you play fantasy and you have the Eagles defense, you're looking at a pretty damn good day. They are actually I play FanDuel, so I tried to get them in as many FanDuel lineups as I could just because they're the cheapest of the top options. Of course, you got the Commanders and the Cardinals, but the Commanders were $4,900. Baltimore and Houston, Baltimore's $5,000. So of the high-end options, the Eagles were the cheapest, and I think it's a safe bet that they should put up some points on defense. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a really exciting day. There's supposed to be a lot of rain in some of these games, like Baltimore and Houston. They're supposed to have some rain. I think they're expected to have the most rain. The Packers game might have some rain. Niners Steelers might have some rain. Eagles Patriots might have some rain. So everything on the East Coast might have some rain. So if you're looking for some exciting football today, even if you don't like the Chargers, it might be on the West Coast.
Oh, the Chargers at home?
Chargers are at home.
Okay. Yeah, dude, I think that'll be a cool one. I also see a couple other things here. One is about the Dolphins. So, like, kind of looking at that matchup and just the Dolphins season, I think it's really interesting because Dolphins had they had, a good season last year. Tua gets hurt. It kind of falls apart. Also, oh, shoot. Sorry. Oh, they're both the same comment. There we go. Dan Marino's a GOAT. Yeah, shout out Dan Marino. I feel like Dan Marino gets slept on so heavily where he's actually a guy. Like, Isaac, I don't know if you've watched much of Dan Marino in comparison to the guys that were around him, but he was like the first guy to actually like push the ball downfield, like just to go out there and just start slinging it. Like, yeah, he does not get enough credit. Like,
I think of all the guys that played back then. I think Dan Marino probably would translate to the modern NFL the best, or transition to the modern NFL the best.
Easily. And I think that's why you see a lot of Dolphins fans like Ari was saying that he's been a Dolphins fan since I think he said like the 90s up here. Yeah, early 90s. That makes sense. I mean, it was a sick team to watch. It was super fun. The actual product on the field offensively was dope. So no, I think people really underrate Marino, unfortunately. But I think I'm looking at the Dolphins this year. They add Jalen. He's obviously not coming back till like November, December.
Yeah.
Huge blow. But it's really weird because like they did stuff. They were a playoff team last year. They weren't really healthy like the last 6 games of the year with Tua. Then they add Jalen, and it feels like they're taking a step back just because the Jets got better. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still think it's a good team. I think that team goes as far as Tua goes. Everyone's concerned about Tua's concussion history, which makes a ton of sense. I mean, he was getting hurt a lot last year, mainly because of concussions, but you can only hope that he stays healthy throughout the season. I hope he stays healthy throughout the season. And here he is week 1 against the guy that he got drafted before. And these two are going to be compared to each other for the rest of their careers just because of where they went, who the Dolphins took over the other. So, it's a big matchup for him today, especially because last year, everyone was talking about Tua and Herbert in that matchup, and the Chargers went on to dominate that game. And it was nothing against Tua. Tua didn't have a good game that game, but here he is. He gets a redemption shot against Justin Herbert. I hope he stays healthy throughout the year. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't really feel like they made significant strides. They added Jalen, but he's out for a little while. Other than that, I can't think of any key additions. So, it's just a team that really didn't make any significant improvements. They're just going to have to hope for improvement within, especially from a healthy Tua. Tua was good last year, but problem is he just couldn't stay healthy. So if he stays healthy, I think he can be maybe not in the Herbert, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts tier, but maybe in like the Kirk Cousins, the around there.
Yeah, totally. And also when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, it makes it a little
life should be easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a great OC or great head coach in Mike McDaniel too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So 2 other teams I see here: Lions. These are both from Devin. Lions and Seahawks. So I think the Lions are drastically overrated. I'll be honest with you. Like, not that they're gonna be bad, but they have so much hype, and they're still not that great. And like a lot of people have decided to like flip the narrative on Jared Goff. Jared Goff has been the same guy basically his entire career since like his rookie season when he sucked. Like
solid.
He's just average, solid. You put good things around him, he's gonna play well. You don't put good things around him, it's gonna look bad. Jared Goff was like, people talked about him being like, oh, like he's like the 25th ranked quarterback in the league. And then this year it's like, oh, he's a top 10 quarterback. Yeah. Guys, all of the advanced metrics, the way he's throwing, his accuracy in different areas of the field, none of that changed last year. None of that changed. The only thing that changed is that he has Amon-Ra St. Brown. He has an explosive run game, one of the best O-lines. He could dump it off, and that's the same thing this year. The backfield honestly looks better with Monty and Gibbs than it did with Swift and Jamal Williams. So their backfield's better. They have a good O-line. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has just emerged as an absolute beast. I don't think that I don't think they're that great. I'm sorry. Yeah. Also, this is a hilarious commentary. They do have the best winning percentage.
No, it's facts, bro. No, man. Personally, I do think they're a little overrated. I think people are hyping them up too much, but I like the Lions. I think they have I think they kind of remind me of that Cowboys team from what was it? Like McCarthy's first year. They had a shit defense, not the best defense, but that made them throw the ball a lot. They had a good backfield. They had a good number 1 in Amari Cooper. I mean, they even had a good number 2 with CD. I don't think the Lions have a good number 2, but I think they're going to be a team that's going to be throwing the ball a lot. It's going to be playing in a lot of fun games, and I don't think it's going to be, the Lions. I hope they make the playoffs. I think they have a chance at the last seed, the 7th seed. I think because A-Rod is gone, I think a lot of people think the Lions are going to have a chance at the division. But both them and the Packers have really easy schedules. So I think it's going to be between them to win the NFC North. And that's going to be a really fun, competitive race. It's going to depend on how Jordan Love goes out there. And I don't think he needs to be a star, but I think he needs to at least be a little better than Jared Goff in order to take the Packers where they want to go. Maybe not the Super Bowl, but at least winning the division. But the Lions, man, I think they're a fun team. I think they're going to be one of the most fun teams to watch in the NFL this year. Jahmyr Gibbs is an electric player. Monty, he isn't very fun to watch, but he's one of those bruiser running backs. If you do like old school football, Amon-Ra St. Brown turned into one of the best receivers, especially, for anyone who played PPR fantasy football. I drafted him this year. He balled on Thursday, but even just as an NFL receiver in general, he definitely looks like one of the better receivers, one of the best receivers in the NFL, in my opinion. Sam Laporta looked good on Thursday. It's going to be a fun team. As far as the Seahawks go, same thing as the Dolphins. I feel like they're going to go as far as Geno goes. Is Geno able to put up the same kind of season as last year? If he's able to put up the same kind of season as last year, I do think the Seahawks will make the playoffs because they got a really good team, man. They're surrounding Geno with a bunch of really good weapons. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. These are a bunch of guys that they've put up numbers before. JSN, for anyone who doesn't know, he played with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, two guys that are supposed to be premier receivers in the NFL here soon. And he was better than both of them while they played together. So numbers wise, but he's supposed, so I definitely expect him to be a force come week 6, week 7, whatever it is, mid-season. And then they drafted Zach Charbonnet in the second round, who, I mean, I didn't get it because they already had a good running back, but I mean, they're surrounding Geno with some really good weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're interesting. I think your first statement is like perfectly accurate. Like they're gonna go where Geno takes them.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna depend on. Because like, I think people. Okay, I'll be honest. I think people overrate rosters that are young a little bit. Like because people get excited. Like, oh, you add this, you add this.
Young
But like,
guys.
we also have to remember what type of organization is that. And like, throw back to the Padres. We always talk about like, oh, what type of organization is this? And it's a negative thing. For the Seahawks, Pete Carroll running the show, like you're gonna get the best player development you can have. That's the thing. So like you can have a team full of young guys and they're gonna be ready to go pretty quick. And you see that like all the time. Like they just plug and play guys left and right. So I think with them, like it's gonna depend if Geno's still if he can have the same year. He kind of slowed down at the end of last year. I think it gets a little bit blown out of proportion. It wasn't like he just sucked, but they did slow down. But then what do? They give him JSN, who I mean, I think Olave and Garrett Wilson are better, but that's not to knock JSN. Like I still think JSN is a legit NFL receiver. I still think he's good. You add Zach Charbonnet, one guy that's going to be out on IR is Kenny McIntosh. He was Georgia's back, really good back. He's good there. So yeah, a lot of stuff there. See who's going to be the best and the worst team. I think the best team is hard to tell. Worst team is pretty clear. I think very obviously it's the Arizona Cardinals. They're a joke.
Yeah.
Best teams, I think it's the Eagles, Niners, and the NFC again. The Cowboys are knocking on the door. The Cowboys add Stephon Gilmore. They look good. They look legit. It's going to depend if Dak can be better than he was last year. In the AFC, I mean, honestly, dude, this could be one of the few years where like the Chiefs aren't if Chris Jones doesn't play. If Chris Jones does not play, they're going to be in serious trouble. Like, because he is far and away their best defensive player.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kelsey's out, but Kelsey should be back next week. I think the Bills are a team in there. I think the Jets. I mean, I think Bills Jets is a good one. I think the Ravens could be really good. They got Todd Monken in there at OC instead of oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. I don't know how, but Greg Roman, who is
Greg Roman, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Bengals, their defense could take a step back, but they're always in the mix. Like the Chargers are in there. The Broncos, I don't think the Broncos are going to be that good, but I think the Broncos are going to be a borderline playoff team. I'm just trying to go through all the teams in my head.
Yeah, dude. There's
the Jags. Yeah. Like there's a lot of teams in the AFC.
There's a lot of good teams in the AFC. I think as far as the AFC goes, like obviously the Chiefs didn't have Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, and they were still able to compete, and they were a few drop passes away. like 4 or 5 drop passes away. They were going to win that game if they catch probably 3 of them. So I think the Chiefs are still the team that runs the AFC as far as I can see the rest of the season going. I still think they run the AFC. I still think they unfortunately run our division, the West. On the NFC side, yeah, I mean, I don't really want to include the Cowboys. I just think it's going to be Eagles Niners, man. I think the Eagles and the Niners are by far away the 2 best teams in the NFC. Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys are in there. They have a great defense, but I don't know. I just don't see it with the Cowboys. I think the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and the offense that they have and the defense that they put on the other side, I mean, that's a crazy good team. And I think they're going to be able to maybe not be just as good, but at least somewhat replicate what they did last year. Same with the Niners. I mean, they're the same. I mean, they'll go. I don't think they'll go as far as Brock Purdy goes just because their defense is stupid. It's insane. They have a crazy defense, but they also have a coach that if Brock Purdy isn't what he was last year, he's going to make the offense do stuff that is going to make them a good offense, or at least a solid enough offense to be able to carry what the defense is going to do. Because I really like Kyle Shanahan as a coach, and I think that he will make something of an offense that is supposed to be, I think people just because Brock Purdy is, I mean, he had a great year last year. He was fantastic last year, but I think people kind of expect a little bit of a fall off. If that does happen, that doesn't really matter because I think they'll find a way to be able to still make it a good offense. So on the NFC, I definitely think those 2 are going to be the teams that are the competitors at the end. As far as the AFC goes, man, I mean, you never know what injuries, what suspensions, anything like that. You never know what's going to happen because that could very well make a team go from, oh, this is the best team in the AFC to, oh, damn, that's a big loss for them. Like the AFC is that crazy. One loss of a significant player can put you in the middle of the AFC instead of the top.
Dude, yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, like, with the Niners, it'll be interesting because the other thing with the Niners, too, is like they have the most cap space in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Because they always change up their contracts and guys basically take bonuses. instead of taking the contract, which saves them a bunch of money. So like Kittle, Trent, they all do that. So they made a bunch of cap room. They re-signed Bosa. They have 43 mil. So you bring up Purdy. Something that's interesting is like, dude, if one of these teams sucks, if like one of them is bad and they have a quarterback that's leaving, like Kirk Cousins, and you need to make a trade, like, dude, they could just make a trade for someone like that. They can make a trade for Brian Burns. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of like options for them. So I do think that's another thing that's interesting is like they have a ton of wiggle room this year if they feel like we need to make a move to still contend. If Purdy isn't good, whatever it is. But reports have been good. I'm excited to see it though, dude, because like now you have a full off season of watching Brock Purdy, 7th rounder. It's like he doesn't have crazy tools, doesn't have crazy arm strength, but he gets the ball out quick. He's good at the progression. So it's kind of like, I mean, he has the things that you would expect to like give him the floor. So I don't think he's gonna like fall off. I don't think he's gonna be like insane. I think it's just like look at the system around him. Look at who he's playing with. Right? Like, I don't know. That's the thing.
I definitely
think a lot of people do that. Yeah.
I definitely think that's the case. Like you said, if he can get the ball out quick to speedy guys like George Kittle, Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and then he has Brandon Ayuk as the number 2 on the other side. I mean, that's a great offense that I think Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to do a lot with, and I think Purdy's at least going to make it manageable. I mean, last year he made it more than manageable. He made him look like one of the top offenses in the NFL. That was a team that was dominating ever since Purdy came in. They were dominating every single game. So that's a great team, man. That's going to be a really fun team to watch on the NFC. And like I said, I think it's a two-man race. But it's going to be a fun season. Matt and I, we're in a fantasy league together where so we got to punish Matt soon. We need punishment ideas, but it's a new season. So Matt, you can bounce back this year. I didn't make the playoffs either, bro. I was trash last year. I only got 4 wins, but luckily, I think I got 2nd or 3rd to last. But I'm hoping to bounce back this year. It should be a lot of fun though, man. I'm really excited to see how the season starts. Someone brought up Julio Urias. I'll talk briefly about Julio Urias. I think his baseball career should be over. That I'm saying that as respectfully as I possibly can and unbiased as I possibly can. The first incident, he was young. He got, kind of a slap on the wrist. He was young. He got the excuse that, he's going to learn from it and he won't do it again. This time, he's years removed from that incident. And, he was at the LAFC game. So let's make a few, I hate to make assumptions, but let's make a few general assumptions that are probably correct. Was probably under the influence of alcohol and did that under the influence of alcohol. And from the signs that we've seen, this is the second time being reported for domestic violence. Who knows the times that he hasn't been reported for it, because 2 times in this time span, it's a lot in my opinion, and it could be much more. And I hate to give that assumption. Obviously, I don't want that to be the case, but I don't think he should play baseball ever again. I agree with JDS 3rd. I don't think either of those 2 should ever play baseball in the MLB ever again.
And it feels like that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with everything you said. Like it's 2 times usually. Like that's pretty clear what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I think with that, I mean, I guess final thing before we take off, Isaac. Players, just breakout players, rookie players, anyone that you're like, oh, dude, like I'm all in on this dude. If I was gonna say it, I think the obvious one is Bijan. Everyone's excited to see Bijan. Gonna be awesome. I do wonder how much they actually use him. Like, I don't think his usage is gonna be crazy, which is smart, because why would you run in your top 10 rookie running back into the ground when your team's not that great?
Yep.
That's my take on it. I think Zay Flowers is going to be an absolute stud for the Ravens. He's probably going to be their wide receiver 1, at least a couple weeks into the season. I think quarterback wise, I think Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence are going to take another big step, because Trevor Lawrence is like, and with Calvin Ridley now,
right?
Yeah, he had 25 passing touchdowns last year, and everyone was like, "Oh, Trevor Lawrence broke out." Guys, Trevor Lawrence could break out this year and have 35 plus. That's the thing. So I got both of them. I think Justin Fields is going to look way better passing the football. He's an absolute beast. I know people like to slander Justin Fields, but I love Justin Fields. Trying to think anyone else. Like, I think part of the Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I like Garrett Wilson. Obviously, A-Rod's now in town, and maybe it's just a 1 year thing. But I think Garrett Wilson showed a lot with subpar quarterbacks last year. I think he has a lot to show this year. Jahmyr Gibbs obviously is a guy that he looked great on Thursday. Didn't have the touches, but I thought he looked great on Thursday, breaking a lot of tackles, and he was really efficient when he got his carries. I think he was probably averaging like 7 yards per touch, or maybe more than that. He looked fantastic. Chris Olave, I think, should have a good year. He's, for anyone who doesn't know, he's from San Diego County. He's from San Marcos, so that's definitely a guy that we'll probably be rooting for. I think he's going to be a fun player to watch. But there's definitely some young guys, man, that I'm expecting some good years from. As far as like if we can go off the Chargers, I think Keenan Allen's going to have a bounce back year off an injury. Yes, he's a little older. He might have higher injury risk, but this is a guy that is Justin Herbert's top option in an offense that's going to be passing a lot because we got the offensive coordinator from Dallas, and I expect Keenan to play the CD role, even if CD is probably faster and younger, more agile. But I think Keenan fits that role the best. People might say Mike Dubb, but I don't see that. But I definitely expect a bounce back from Keenan, and hopefully Joey Bosa. These guys all bounce back.
Yeah, I think another team too to bring up is like you're talking about bounce backs. I think the Broncos are going to be a bounce back team. I think going from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton is probably the biggest coaching like improvement ever, ever in the NFL. Sean Payton is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Nathaniel Hackett might be the worst coach we've ever seen for 1 year. Like that was like really bad. So like that's a pretty crazy thing that we saw with them. AFC West is loaded, and then there's the Raiders. The Raiders are going to be awful. I think it's just going to be like a disaster season there. Surprise teams. I think the Broncos would be a surprise team. I don't know, man. I feel like the NFL. I feel like I know there's always so much change. I wanted to say the Rams because I thought the Rams. It's like, hey, like they lost a lot of guys, but they lost a lot of guys that weren't good. But Cooper Kupp's already hurt, so it's like, well,
that's a tough
there goes
one.
that.
That's a huge loss. What, man? I can't think of a surprise team. I mean,
maybe the
Browns.
Look
at the Browns, maybe, Deshaun, if he's any good. I mean, you kind of got to look at the NFC, the division with the Bucks and those
Saints?
the Saints. I was going to say the Saints might be a kind of a surprise team, and they might not make any noise in the playoffs, but they have such an easy schedule that you could be looking down the road and saying like, wow, this isn't a bad team. Yes, they've had an easy schedule, but they're winning a lot of games.
Yeah, they could. I think they should easily win that division. If they don't easily win that division, like
heads should roll.
God, yeah, that's a So it wasn't Derek. It wasn't the Raiders. It was also Derek Carr.
Yeah,
that's what that kind of shows you. So, but yeah, I think that's all I got. We got like 5 minutes till football starts. So, Isaac, anything else you want to add before we take off out of here?
That was so much better talking about the Padres. Oh my, that was so much better than talking about the Padres. I actually got to say some positive stuff on here, but everyone have a great Sunday. Whether you go to church or watch football, I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy it. Don't watch the Padres. It'll ruin it. But enjoy the first week of football.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day and good luck to everyone betting, doing whatever you're doing on Sunday. Enjoy yourself. Have a good day. See y'all soon.